It's finally here, Mayweather-McGregor fight week, and we at Show Money had to get in on the action in what possibly could be the biggest boxing match in history.
And we're going to touch on a few different areas: revenue, fighter pay, what we think about the pay-per-view numbers. We'll start with how we feel the fight has been promoted, talk a little bit about Zuffa boxing and maybe the impact on MMA and UFC. But John, start us off. First question here is, what's your take on the promotion of this fight? What you expected? Something else?
Actually, I'm impressed with the promotion because there's really no. They've got a fight that's an absolute, by any standard, is a joke. As I say, it's a hippodrome, and if people aren't familiar with the term hippodrome, hippodrome is an old. The way I'm using it's an old late 19th century, early 20th century term. Normally, it means the hippodrome's the place where they hold the races in the Roman Empire. But a hippodrome here means, with used in old-time pro wrestling, is a match that's not on the level. And it doesn't have to be fake. It could be a fake pro wrestling match, or it could be a match that is so one-sided that there's no real sporting interest beyond the money to be made from it. And this is a hippodrome. That's all it is. It's an event put on solely to make money, not for any sporting reason whatsoever. And I'm really impressed the way that they've got a lot of people somehow convinced that McGregor stands a chance, that he has a legitimate chance to surprise Mayweather with his magic ability to understand angles.
I know, right? It feels like more and more the closer we get, you're like, damn, does he have a chance? No, he can't. He can't, but does he? Is that what you're thinking, Jason?
Yeah, I think that they've done the marketing behind this has done a great job in telling a story and attempting to have the consumer buy into the fact that the underdog here, McGregor, has a shot at defeating Floyd Mayweather. And now, I mean, just thinking about this. I mean, it's like if Michael Jordan were to play professional baseball and start at the very pinnacle up against Roger Clemens or something like that. And as you recall, when Michael Jordan played baseball, he wasn't that good. So, you know, that might be a stretched analogy, but I think with this shoulder programming, if you've been watching the Showtime Access 360, it tells a story. Paulie M, he's a great analyst. I apologize. But anyway, I think Paulie's, whether or not he meant to do this, but he's kind of been a bridge to promote himself and the fight as well. I mean, MMA fan maybe thinks that the knockdown was real, you know, but I think that the videos and such has aided the belief that McGregor has a chance, and that's all you need. And the promotional tour helped tremendously, I would have to say. Although a lot of people, I mean, it was distasteful from a lot of aspects. I think the promotional tour helped because it showed the personality of McGregor, and for those boxing fans that are just in a vacuum and don't watch MMA, it kind of introduced you to this guy that's this cocky guy, Irish guy that thinks he could knock out Floyd.
Yeah, I feel like I underestimated McGregor's camp in terms of promoting this fight. I did not think they would do this good of a job. I don't know if that Malignaggi thing was a setup, was staged from the beginning, or if he's in on it, it's just a fake argument to maybe set up a fight down the line. I don't know. But regardless of whether it was real or fake, I personally feel like I underestimated McGregor's camp. And I originally had my guess for pay-per-view buys was around like 3.7 million, I think. And I think I might have to up that number a little bit. And I was also doing something today, looking at Google Trends, just to try to compare Mayweather-McGregor to Mayweather-Pacquiao, just in terms of what it says. It actually looked like in the weeks leading up to the fight, the Mayweather-McGregor has been trending better than Mayweather-Pacquiao was back in the day. But then this last week, they were about even. And then there was a huge spike the night of the fight and the day after, but we haven't got to that point yet. But which surprised me a little bit. I feel like I need to change my numbers. I didn't think it would beat Mayweather Pacquiao, but now I'm starting to second guess myself. All right, John, what are you thinking about the pay-per-view buys? You want to do revenues, pay-per-view buys? Those are basically the same thing almost.
Well, on this, I mean, the majority of it's pay-per-view buys. I mean, to get back most of the promotion, though, I just want to say it's pretty remarkable that this is a clear-cut case. We've always talked about how the superstar effect is really evident in MMA and boxing. And the superstar effect is that there's certain firms in business or certain artists and music or whatever that they get all the revenue, all the attention. But this is like the ultimate example of how the superstar effect takes over, is that everybody's attention is so much on one fight. First, it overshadows everything around it. But because it then pierces through everybody's daily life, all the mist and all the stuff in their daily life that obscures everything else, that it gets so big that a light gets on it, that everybody that even casually would never normally be involved or have interest in this fight is suddenly interested in it because it has so much attention. And this is what it's done. It's made it. It's got its own momentum going so much that people that would never be interested in the fight, that they're interested. The fight has no, like I said, has no real sporting value. There's not a fight. This is a joke. But people are obsessed with the money it's going to make. We're going to talk about the money, and that's all people care about. It's called the goddamn money fight, for God's sake. That's all they care about, how much money it's going to make. Or they do all these elaborate things to give it look like, oh, McGregor actually has a chance to knock it out. Maybe he has knock him out. Maybe he has this magic ability to get it done. We've released 20 seconds of highly edited footage that's been carefully selected and curated, but this will prove he has a chance. And people, you can't convince people he doesn't have a chance. This is like people telling people it's stupid to buy lottery tickets. It is stupid to buy lottery tickets. You're not going to win. But shit, you still do it because you love the joy of hope that you might win when you own that ticket. You're thinking, I might be the winner this time. You didn't win, but you were happy for a few minutes. This is the McGregor fight. That's all it is. It's selling lottery tickets.
Do you have McGregor's odds of winning at better than the lottery, better than like 1 in 270 million?
No, well, yeah, it's much better than that. His odds are much better. I mean, just the pure fact, Mayweather might, like trip on the rope and break an ankle or something. Who knows? But his odds are definitely nowhere near what they are given. And there's going to be an immense wealth transfer from all the people betting on McGregor to these very wealthy whales that are putting huge amounts of money on Mayweather. It's just sad. But anyways, back to the numbers. I don't know how much it's going to do, because part of me says we're in a different era, that there might be such blowback from, let's say, from people calling this a farce, that it might turn some people off. But I think it's got its own momentum. It's going to go beyond that. I also think there might be a chance that the stealing of streams might be so big now that it might cut into the actual what the pay-per-view buys. But I do think they have a chance to beat Mayweather Pacquiao. I do think that's legitimate. I don't think they're going to do the numbers that the Mayweather camp was floating around, 7 million buys in the U.S. I just don't. If they get that, then you know what? I give up. I mean, it just, I have no clue how the world works at that point. But I think it has a chance to beat Mayweather Pacquiao, just because, like I said, it has its own momentum. It's a thing that it's pierced the chaos. It's become a light has shined on it, so it's separated itself from all the chaff that's floating around the world, and everybody feels now that they have to get it just because that people have convinced you, just because he might have a chance. So it's got a chance to beat Pacquiao Mayweather. 4.6 million buys in North America. That's a lot of buys, a lot of money. Jason, my rant is done. I think I might be done for the day. But
well, I'm depressed after I have no chance at. Actually, I'm sure after people have listened to that, people will put $10 on McGregor just to see, because they're the one. But I do think that one of the phenomenons in this is gaining the momentum into this week for culturally to seep in. I mean, ESPN's going live. I'm sure FS1 has specials. all of this week. Not, I mean, it's going to eclipse the eclipse, and just it's going to be all over this week. And they've been doing a good job of attempting to do the pre-sales. They're offering a hat on UFC.com. Get a hat. So there's a lot. I think what has happened, especially with what happened with Mayweather Pacquiao, is that they are actively, Showtime and other distributors distributing the pay-per-view are actively trying to sell this fight in the form of pre-sales, and that's perhaps why Dana White's came out and said 4.9 million buys worldwide, or I believe it's worldwide is what he was projecting as far as the trending. That's the only way I could see him coming up with that sort of number, is that there's a lot of pre-buys already, and I think correctly said is that it becomes one of these things where you have to see it. You have to see, like, everyone's talking about it culturally and in mainstream media, and then people are like, well, let's see what is going on, and like they'll they'll see a little snippets of the promotional tour and see all of this these flashy guys and be excited. Now, as far as pay-per-view sales, I was not so bullish on it hitting 4.9 million buys as projected by Dana White, but I think that it will come close to 4 million just because of the great momentum that they put together.
The bet that feels like it's the easy money bet. If you're willing to throw down $4,500 to win $100, McGregor, no point deducted for throwing a kick. I feel like I want to put $18,000 on that and try to win 400. I really feel like he's not going to get a point deduction for throwing a kick. But
unfortunately, you don't have that. If you were an incredibly wealthy man, it'd be worth the risking, because it's
right.
it seems like such a sure bet.
Right, I know. But so I mean, I didn't think it was going to beat Mayweather Pacquiao. I'm starting to change my tune just because of, man, I underestimated the McGregor promotion. I actually go right now. I think that it will at least tie it. So what is that, 4.4? And maybe a little bit more. What did you say, John? 4.6? I would say
4.6 in North America, I believe, was the total. 4.4 in America.
Yeah, I think I'll go in the 4.4 to 4.6 range now, but which is surprising. But I mean, it feels like it benefited a little bit. This end of summer position isn't supposed to be that great, but at least in our MMA world, we've had 3 empty weeks once UFC whatever got canceled. There's been nothing to talk about except Mayweather and McGregor. In terms of other sports, there you have baseball, and that's it. Back in Mayweather Pacquiao, there was in the middle of the NBA playoffs, the NHL playoffs, all of that was going on. They might actually benefit a little bit from this lack of sports going on here at the end of summer, and the promotion that gets to lead into that, and then McGregor doing his thing and Floyd doing his thing. But so we've got our pay-per-view numbers. What do you think? What do you think about the revenues involved here in this event?
My guess is it does close to Pacquiao. I mean, it said what, over 60 million at the gate, they said like a week ago. I guess the question is, they were Ellaby and I think Wade both said if it sells out, they're expecting $100 million gate. That's how the tickets were priced.
Yeah,
which sounds. I mean, they seem confident will break the Pacquiao Mayweather gate, 73 million. I'm not sure, 72 million. So I'm not sure it does that, but maybe it does. Who knows? But even that, 60 million. So even if it doesn't sell another ticket, it's over 60 million. That's a pretty goddamn big number for a gate. And then the one thing that got me though is they haven't announced any sponsors. They keep talking about all the sponsor money they're going to make, but not a single sponsor that I'm aware of has been announced yet.
This is Sunday night, everybody, that we're filming this.
Yeah, so if it gets announced Monday morning, they have sponsors. I'm not an idiot. It hasn't been announced yet.
I think it is a little odd because if you're a sponsor, you'd want to get as much out of your investment in this fight as you can, like enough signage and get everything ready for it and roll out some activation or some sort of thing around Mayweather McGregor.
And don't you want to take it? don't you want to take advantage of the weigh-ins and the press events?
Exactly.
These are huge numbers you're going to get this week for these things.
Exactly. There's going to be a lot of people watching everything involved, even, walk-ins or whatever. You want to have if you're going to spend as much as they are asking, you'd want to have to get your money's worth, right? I mean, not just for that fight night, but I mean, more than that.
Yeah, that makes me wonder if perhaps they're asking too much for the sponsors, that the minimum bid that they ask for is way too rich for people to consider. That's what I'm guessing, but who knows? It might also be that there's such a bidding war going on that they're not making a decision yet because they keep thinking they can raise it higher. That's a possibility too, which should be crazy.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me, But McGregor got his the most important sponsorship, right? He got his 2-year residency at the Wynn. What do you think he's pulling down for that?
What does he have to do for it? To just live there? To have the penthouse?
It's just like the thing where you come and host parties every once in a while. What would it be? I don't know, once a month maybe or something. I don't know. I'm making that up, but what do you think he's getting for that? It's got to be in the millions.
I have no clue. I don't know how Vegas on those things. I wouldn't have a clue what they pay on that. So,
they pay some insane, absurd amount of money for the person to walk in, show their face, and then go in the back room and never show their face again the rest of the night.
Well, they come out and every once in a while come out, make an announcement and a toast or something, and that's it. If ever, or they sit at the DJ booth and pretend they're rocking. They're picking the tunes and they have no. I have no clue. I got hookers and blow waiting for me in the back. I don't care about hanging out with you losers.
But I mean, forget about his 100 million. Think of how his life is changing just from this event. Win or lose, don't even think about the 100 million. I mean, he's got a 2-year residency at the Wynn.
Yeah.
Think of all the other sponsorships that he got. I wanted to try to sit down with Adi Attar and go over all the different sponsorships that he ended up getting, but I talked to him too late, and he didn't have the time. But
yeah, well, I mean, Mayweather's claiming, or at least the Telegraph is claiming. I don't know if Mayweather is. I saw another source that put the number at lower, but that he was asking for $25 million for all of his sponsorship for his apparel for the fight, which is I find it hard to believe that people would give Mayweather, considering his brand is somewhat tainted from his history.
Right.
But you think McGregor actually would have more valuable sponsorship numbers? I still don't believe. I can't believe 25 because that blows past what Pacquiao got on his sponsors. But I can believe him getting millions. But on top of that, he's getting millions. He's probably making more in sponsors in this fight, McGregor, than he ever got paid in a normal fight. And on top of that, he's expecting, at least what they're claiming, is at least 75 million, over 100 million. If it does like McGregor, Mayweather Pacquiao numbers, he should make over 100 million. So 75 to 100 million he'll get. That's that's some huge numbers. And then of course Mayweather's supposedly going to get like minimum 250, maybe over 350 million, some ridiculous number.
And he really does. And just trying to recall Mayweather's fights, he really doesn't have a lot of sponsors. I mean, it's one or two. There's that. I mean, I think we talked about the Burger King. He walked out with him at one time, and
I think the twist should be McGregor should walk out with Burger King this time.
Yes,
that's the big twist. And then Mayweather comes out with Nate Diaz.
Nate Diaz would take the money.
Nate Diaz dressed as Ronald McDonald. That'd be the
or the hamburger. That would be great.
Kill 2 birds with one. Yeah, he's in the hamburger outfit, then he takes off the mask, and it's Nate Diaz. It's like the whole thing is absurd. That would actually, why not? It's already a circus. Why not make it even bigger?
If it happened.
And then CJ Watson shows up, and not just his jersey.
Yeah,
the actual guy.
They keep trying to one-up each other the whole time. Horrible. It'd be
in the
horrible.
Front row, that would be the best.
Yep. Now, I guess for both of you guys, do you buy the tale that I heard and the tale that I think is floating out there is that the deal is that Mayweather gets a 70-30 split over McGregor, and that McGregor's split with the UFC is 70-30.
70 him, 30 UFC?
70 him, 30 UFC. Around there. It could be, I don't know, 75-25 or 66 to 33.
The UFC comes out less with the McGregor split?
They come out less than the McGregor split. That if he gets he'll get 100 million and they'll get like 42 million if it does Pacquiao numbers.
So you're basically saying the UFC gets what 9% of the total.
Yeah,
right?
9% of the net after.
Yeah. I mean, that seems reasonable to me. My default position in the very beginning was that UFC and McGregor would split 50-50. So if he was able to work out something better than that, I would believe it. I would believe 70-30. Although I guess I thought that it would be 60-40 with Mayweather and McGregor. But yeah, it seems it's in the realm of possibility. It doesn't seem that out there.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, I think actually. Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say I think Mayweather had a lot more leverage than we think because, unlike Pacquiao, McGregor has no monster money fights where he can get like 25, 30, 40 million a fight without, and Mayweather's sitting around with, I already made all the money. At least even if he's broke, he could pretend I still have all the money I might have lost, but he could pretend. So he, to get into that next level, McGregor needs this fight where Mayweather is already at that position. Mayweather's the one bringing in his history of being 49-0 that's going to get the McGregor fans excited.
Yeah, I had thought that whatever Floyd Mayweather was going to agree to, it was going to be a bigger split with McGregor than it was with Pacquiao. So 70-30 sounds about right. Now with the McGregor UFC split, I thought it was like Paul, I thought it was going to be 50-50, but again, if he is doing better than that, that's great. And it also probably means that the UFC kind of had this, we'll give you this, but you need to come back to UFC at some point. So maybe a business relationship on the boxing end down the road.
Yeah, and we know it turns out we know the leverage that Conor McGregor had was that it's either take this fight, Floyd, or sell one of your homes. And I guess he didn't want to sell one of his homes to pay the IRS, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, sure. Not aware.
He does have a woman's club or girl collection if you watch Showtime. It doesn't look, it's not Spearmint Ryan. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, let me just say, I don't think if you're into that, I've never been in one of those places in Vegas, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that's if your wife is watching, he's never been to one of these places in Vegas.
Dare we debate whether that's a good name or a stupid name? Girl collection.
Girl collection.
I don't think we should go there.
Yeah,
no. It's probably it's actually better than Spearmint Rhino.
But that brings up the whole other thing is that it was kind of an interesting last couple of weeks with UFC too, because they've kind of announced that they're going to have a thing called Zuffa Boxing. And for this fight, after this fight, I should say, and they also, almost like a last minute, they suddenly got, even though they said they had no interest in being the promoter, they were not going to be the promoter for the bout. Next thing you know is they're licensed to be the promoter. And so I guess I'll put it to you first, Paul. I guess, what do you think? Do you think anything of that, or is that just, that's really nothing? Or
oh, you had to go to me first on that one. Okay.
Yes.
I thought they would not touch boxing promotion with a 10-foot pole. So it was pretty shocking when they did that. Why they're doing it? I mean, you could say to get money directly instead of Conor having to pay them, I guess. I don't know. Did you actually say that before? I don't remember. But the main thing it signals to me is that their legal team has to have no fear whatsoever about Ali Act applying to them in any way, shape, or form. That's what it says to me. You guys might disagree, but I can't imagine them doing this if it would put them in that sort of situation. As for why they would do it, it seems like there's got to be some money reason behind the scenes, but I'm not 100% sure what it is. Jason, you're the lawyer. Let's see.
Yeah, immediately I thought Ali Act, but to back up a little bit, I thought curious of the timing, simply because if this was going to happen, they were going to make the announcement, back in June, they would be right off the bat being the promoter. Zuffa would be a co-promoter along with, Showtime. My messing over is a Mayweather production. But anyway, they would be co-promoting from the outset. The fact that they come in here in late in August, the very last commission meeting before the fight happens, kind of is curious on the timeline, simply because what has transpired or what has happened, or did they know all along that they were going to come in at the end and be the co-promoter and have the money come directly from them? Now, take that back. Yeah, the Ali Act does apply to them now. And that could only mean that, like you said, Paul, that the lawyers don't think there's going to be an issue with it down the road. But again, lawyers being lawyers, there's always another lawyer down the road that disagrees. And my odds on a lawsuit arising out of this fight, not just from being co-promoter, but just in general between the sides, 100%. Someone's gonna sue somebody and not be happy after the fight. So anyway, to sum it up, it does seem peculiar that they came in last minute, and I'm not sure what is the thinking behind the process. Did somebody get a little concerned with what's going on, or what? Who knows?
What does it smell like to you, John?
Okay, well, I mean, who knows for sure, but I think there's hypothetically, we'll put up some hypothetical theories here, but I think Jason's onto something. When you think about it, if he's convinced someone's going to sue, and other people have mentioned this too, that they're really sure that someone's going to sue. If you're the UFC and you're expecting, and your choice is between, I do not want to become a promoter because I don't want to open up myself to any Alley Act violations, or that your other worry is the money. That means the money has to go McGregor's camp, and that they could claim no matter what that we were violating the Alley Act, and then it'd be that much harder to get our hands on the money that we were promised. It might be just worth it. Well, screw it. We'll just get the money first and make it harder for him to claw back that $40 million that we're going to make. That's one theory on it. That's one thinking on it, at least. The other thinking though is weird, is because one of the reasoning that a lot of people have given, at least I've given, I'm probably the one that's given it the most since I wrote the damn article on it at one time, that the McGregor was able to get the fight is the threat of the Ali Act. And the whole threat is that we're going to claim that you're a boxing promoter, and because we're going to claim you're a boxing promoter, you're in violation of the Ali Act, won't break my contract. Well, if any other future fighter wants to take this avenue, the UFC just made it a lot easier because there's no way to hide. You're a boxing promoter. You got Zuffa Boxing.
Right.
Yeah,
so that would seem to discredit that theory a little bit, right? Not to discredit your article.
No. Well, that's one way to look at it. Or the other way to look at it is they're setting it up that if anybody's going to go that route, yeah, you can claim we're a boxing promoter, but guess what? Now we're going to promote your boxing event.
Yeah.
Because we're Zuffa Boxing. In other words, you cannot negate our contract by claiming that we violated the Ali Act. We'll have a new one in place for you if you try boxing under Zuffa Boxing. So you can't escape from the, Zuffa promotions that way. That's another way to think of it. I don't know if that's true either. I'm just saying, throwing that out there. I think the big thing is that, and just to be in the paranoid, I think Jason's right, and people are worried about lawsuits and not getting their money. They just said, screw it. We're just going to go ahead and we just want to make sure the money goes through us first, just in case there's trouble down the road. We're not waiting to get that money.
I think it's a huge conspiracy to sell T-shirts. Pretty much
Yeah.
to use their monopoly power to sell T-shirts.
Yeah.
If you make the T-shirt, you have to go through with the whole promotion.
Yeah.
But I mean, it is really interesting, that's for sure. Oh, we didn't even throw in the Nevada Athletic Commission in all this, and their behavior to even approve the fight and the gloves. All right, guys, what we've got? Well, talk about either of those or both of them, whatever you want. The Athletic Commission approving the fight and the gloves.
Jason can be really quick because I'll just be really brief on this, and I'll just say I think the Nevada Commission has shown that the integrity that they have and the focus they have and dedication to be clearly following the guidelines, regulations, and purely dedicated to the sport, that they don't give a shit about following the guidelines, regulations for this match. That's it. It's like, oh, shit, how much money is this fight going to make? Oh, who cares about rules about what the glove size should say? And who cares if we're supposed to actually sanction a bout between, two guys of there's not an immense mismatch. We don't care. It's going to make $1 billion. So Jason, now you can pipe in because I just had to.
I mean, I couldn't. I mean, the thing is, I couldn't imagine them not agreeing to the 8-ounce gloves. I mean, even though you got a brief letter from the Association of Ringside Physicians saying this isn't a good thing. You got scientific evidence, and they're like, scientific evidence? What's that? Yeah. I tend to agree with John. They could have changed this to a barbed wire match, and the Nevada Commission would be like, well, just this one time we'll have barbed wire instead of the ring ropes. I mean, it was going to happen. you know, maybe we're being a little humorous about it, but I think, or cynical would be the better word. But I think that there was no doubt that they were going to allow it, regardless of any kind of safety issues that there may be presented or whatever. And to be honest with you, this is one of those issues where they would table it to some other kind of thing where we're like, we got to have a committee to table this and study it. I mean, that kind of thing. But since this is Mayweather McGregor and all the money, you know, hey, let's go ahead and do it.
What's hilarious, I think we all can verify, because I think that several other commissioners claim that they would never sanction this bout.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, I don't know if that's true as soon as they see the paychecks the checks start coming in, but they all claim, I'm not gonna say who, but we know probably half a dozen major commissions at least that claim that we would never, ever allow this fight in our state.
I was going to poll them. I had an idea to poll as many commissions as I could on whether they would have approved the bout. And the only reason I didn't do it, I just felt like I would get almost no responses. But I thought that would have been an interesting piece to do, to actually ask them, and if they were telling the truth, like how many would have approved this bout. But I mean, the Nevada Athletic Commission, just when you think they can't embarrass themselves anymore, right? They just find ways to do it, and I don't know what they're thinking over there. But okay, so it's a shocker they approve the fight, but then you say, all right, they're self-funded agency, and this is a huge fight. I can at least maybe kind of understand them doing that. But what is there to gain from approving these gloves? It's not like Mayweather's going to be so pissed at you he never wants to promote a boxing match there ever again. It's not like you're going to get that many incremental sales when you're already making a good amount already. Like, and you just look like an absolute laughing stock that doesn't know what they're doing or doesn't care about what they're doing. To me, the cost didn't seem to cover the benefits of this decision, of these gloves. Like, I get them wanting to approve the fight. I do not understand why they just made themselves look like a joke for very little gain approving these gloves.
All I can think of is that the Mayweather McGregor camps, they thought it was a good marketing ploy for them, and that someone came to them and said, hey, we'd love to have this passed. Why not? Let it pass, because now we can sell to all the people that, oh my God, McGregor got what he wanted. Mayweather's in trouble now because Mayweather has no clue how to fight with 8-ounce gloves. None. The man is he's out of his element now, because 8-ounce gloves are only 4 ounces more than a 4-ounce glove. So there's that. That's how much better McGregor's chances are now.
Right. But if I'm the regulator, I'm like, guys, I'm already making this fight that is crazy to make. No, I'm drawing the line at these gloves.
I'm drawing the line if we're actually going to follow the rules on the page about how a fight should go at this weight class. And what type of gloves you should use for that weight class. No, they don't care. They don't care. So that's yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's a hippodrome, people. It's a hippodrome. The word of the day. We're bringing it back. Old early 20th century speak. Carney speak.
All right, guys. So what? At the end of the day, this fight's going down. We already know who we think is winning. I think we've said that before. I have changed my my pick from Mayweather knockout in the 8th or 9th round to 7th or 8th round. Slight little change there.
Yeah. Because of the gloves?
yeah, because of the gloves. But at the end of the day, the fight's going down. What do you think? We all think Mayweather's going to win, and hopefully McGregor won't look too bad. Hopefully, but I mean, I'm pretty sure we're all rooting for McGregor at the end. If we put like our fan hat on, I'd imagine all three of us would be rooting for McGregor, but we don't expect him to win. Although I want him to win. But what do you think the impact is going to be on UFC and MMA as a whole?
Well, I want McGregor to win, but not like win an outright regular fight, because if he actually wins this, then reality means nothing, and I will lose my sanity. But if he wins in a freak incident, like, God damn it, a piece of the roof fell off and hit Mayweather in the head, stunned him, and McGregor knocked him out, then I'd be like, well, shit, that's just, even I think that would fuck with my mind even more, because McGregor would have willed it with the secret. And again,
Mystic Mac, that's how.
Yeah. So, but the big winner, I think it's obvious who's going to win, Mayweather, because he's going to get 300 million or so. So he's the big winner. But I think I go with you. I think about somewhere in the 6th round, between 6th and the 9th round, just the cumulative damage is just going to get, it's because Mayweather's, I don't think he's going to throw a ton, but it'll be enough. Cumulative damage will start getting to McGregor, and the ref will step in and say, this is You know, but again, they've given up on the glove. Everything. Who knows? Maybe the ref will let him go till he dies. At this point, I mean, who knows with this match? They might decide, screw it, we're all out.
Watch a man die. That's the new.
Okay, Jason, what do you think is going to happen?
You know, I'm in your guys' camp. I think the first 2 rounds will be exciting because McGregor will do his showboating and do his fancy things. Maybe he hits Floyd's shoulder really hard a couple of times, and the crowd will go, "Ooh, my gosh, that was that close, guys!" Yeah. But in the end, I mean, we're talking about one of the best fighters ever, one of the best boxers ever. And at the end of the day, I do think it's going to be a ref stoppage in round 6. It'll be the good news for MMA is that I think McGregor will show up. He'll show a lot of mettle, a lot of toughness. People will be impressed by how well he hung in there for as long as he hung in there. And, you know, he won't lose a lot of luster. I mean, the only way I see him losing a lot of luster is if he gets knocked out, you know, in the first round, and or he just goes crazy and starts throwing kicks, which is not going to happen. Yeah. So in the end, I think that what the UFC will gain is the ability to promote McGregor for his next big fight in the UFC, stating, you know, he went toe to toe with Floyd Mayweather in the biggest fight, whatever. He gave Floyd all that he could take, you know, he was close to losing that kind of thing. So that's what
I guess that goes segue there. I guess if you think he's going next in the UFC, what do you think happens after this fight with the UFC, MMA, McGregor? Do you think he goes back to the UFC? Do you think he fights Paulie Malignaggi? Do you think he, you know, has the UFC opened a can of worms with this whole event that fighters are now looking at $75, $100 million paydays and thinking, shit, I do not want to, you know, I want to follow the footsteps of Conor this way and trying something outside the box? I go with you guys.
Yes to all. Yes to all. Yes, so okay. I think that he'll come back to the UFC. I think that maybe perhaps there was an agreement in place between Conor and the UFC that he comes back to fight. Maybe depending on how he goes at the end of the year in December, maybe March 2018, something like that. Comes back. And it'll be a huge pay-per-view for the UFC for that because they're working on that momentum. And then does he fight Paulie? Yeah, he fights Paulie. He fights Paulie because Paulie, it will be a huger payday than any UFC payday for Conor McGregor. So he'll go back. Maybe, gosh, I don't know if he'll fit it in the spring, but I do think it'll be happening within the next year's time because you can't let him lose this boxing gimmick so soon. And then as far as other fighters in the UFC, it just depends. Like I know what Dana White said, if Conor's a special person, and it just depends. You can't just have Stipe Miocic, Anthony Joshua. I don't know if you denigrate that. I mean, well, you got Zuffa boxing, so maybe I'm being too harsh, but I think that it just takes a special person to do the crossover.
To me, this signals that in the WME IMG era, sorry, I can't talk. In the WME IMG era, if money is perceived to be involved, nothing is off the table. I don't know whether we can consider anything off the table in the future if it seems like a money option. So my guess, though, is that McGregor will be going back to MMA after this, and I would think even as soon as New Year's Eve would be my guess. And then maybe one other fight after that, and then if it seems like there will be decent demand or build up for Malignaggi, then yeah, I agree with Jason that might happen in the future as well. But I think he goes back to MMA. But we need to expect that other things like this might happen in the future. Again, as long as it's perceived to be the money option. So yeah, if you were mentioning Stipe Miocic, if you don't think that has a lot of momentum behind it, I wouldn't expect it. But it signals to me that WME IMG seems to be open to anything, especially if it will help mainstreamify the sport and get names and the sport itself out there more. That's what it seems to me. We just need to open our minds as to what to expect in these types of situations in the future.
Interesting. I don't know. I mean, I think it's. I'm not sure. I'm not 100% convinced he comes back to the UFC. I think the money involved. I think we might be in a round of lawsuits, like everybody's kind of thinks, because we have that much money floating around. It's like, well, I would like to get 10% back that I lost out on. That I had to agree to. So 10% adds up to 10 million. So the money like that, it's easy to see lawsuits floating around. I think there's a possibility that he, it depends if you think this was a mutual agreement between the UFC and Conor, or if you think Conor held their feet to the fire and made them sign this agreement. If he held them to the fire, I don't see any reason why he wouldn't do it again to get the Paulie fight, which would pay more. And say, oh, we're going to go back to boxing again because I get the lion's share instead of Mayweather against Paulie. So. I might not make as much, but I can make maybe 30 million off that. And then I guess the thing happens is like guys like Stipe, I don't see it, but guys like John Jones, who are stars, could see it and say, I can either try boxing, try to force the UFC in boxing, or go the route and try to force the UFC to make fights that I want to make, or I'll threaten to break my contract with them legally if they don't make fights I want to make that pay me more. So I could see that being that to me, that's the risk. If the UFC set it up that guys decide I am going to go, nuclear, take the nuclear option to try to get 2-3 times as much as I'm getting right now.
Who's going to be the first is the question. Who's going to be the first to risk the nuclear option? Unless the nuclear option is happening behind the scenes and we don't know about it.
Yeah. I would go John Jones. If I had to take that's just a guess. No, I have no evidence, no information. But if you had to pick a guy that seems like the type of guy that would say, I've made some money, I have some money, I'm willing to take the risk to get much more money. The problem is I don't see what fight he could have that would generate the kind of money to make it worthwhile. There's not, that's the one thing. There's no one floating outside the UFC and no boxing match. I think people would pay a ton to see him in.
He hasn't picked fights with anyone like McGregor does.
Yeah.
He hasn't helped build it up.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, but he'd be someone like that. I'd say it'd be the best option, I would think. But who knows? There's, or again, I mean, the other options, they don't really do it to get out of the UFC. They use it to try to get the UFC to give them bigger concessions that basically double their pay or something. So instead of making $3 to $4 million a fight, he goes, well, I want 10, 12 million a fight, which is more than double. That's actually 3 times. My math is that bad.
Do you think McGregor's coming back this year, John?
No, I don't. I find it hard to believe he's going to come back.
Jason?
Yeah, no, I do. I think if he's not banged up a lot, he'll come back for the New Year's Eve show.
All right, we got you 2-1. Ha ha.
I mean, of course, if he's really hurt from the fight, I don't know.
All right, guys. Anything else? What else do we need to talk about with this?
I think we covered it.
Are you watching the fight? Are you guys watching the fight?
Are we watching it? Yeah, I'm actually ordering it. I never order boxing pay-per-views, but I'm having people over and ordering it. $99.
Will you watch Miguel Cotto beforehand?
Absolutely.
The B-side, the ultimate B-side there.
I've not decided if I'm watching this or going to go to a movie instead. I think a big part depends if I can get reimbursed by Bloody Elbow. If I can get reimbursed, then I'll probably get it. But I just don't. It's just not. I'm just not that. I'm like everybody else. I'm not excited for it at all. I'm not at all.
John has an open invitation to watch it at my house. You do too, Jason.
Oh, okay. I just need to fly down.
Kager, Raging Kager at the Gibbs place. I'll be there.
Give out the address on here, and everybody.
Yeah, let's not do that.
I might show up. I'm gonna surprise you and show up. I'll be the guest that doesn't leave.
Hey, sometimes we do karaoke afterwards.
I'll be leaving. Don't worry.
All right, guys. Is that it? I feel like we're missing something, but oh well.
We hit it all. We hit it all.
What can you do? All right. On behalf of John Nash and Jason Cruz, I'm Paul Gift, reminding you to keep doing business as usual. And if you're an MMA fan, root for the improbable.